Let me remind the people listening, you're as brown as I am, so never forget who you are. Secondly, you've had your day. I'm speaking now.
What's my ethnicity got to do with protecting the civil society?
Because that is your heritage. Their stories are never told. One thing I do agree with Ben, sort of, will you stop behaving like a hooligan and let me speak?
Okay, I want to show you, Ben, two different sides of this argument, both from the hard left, who I think are absolutely prepared to be racist, and this is an example involving you.
Yeah, I remember this.
Also from the ordinary right, or as others would call it, the far right, who actually point out, well, no, that the white English are hugely at threat, far, far more than the global majority. But let's start with the left, okay, and the toxicity of the left, because an interview between yourself and Yasmin Brown, a hard leftist on LBC, is going viral again with claims by the British Stand YouTube channel, very, very good channel, that Yasmin was actually being racist towards you, Ben. So I just want to remind everyone about what went down.
Let me remind the people listening, you're as brown as I am. Though I know
you're as brown as me.
Yours is artificial. Well, so never forget who you are. Secondly, you've had your day. I'm speaking now.
What's my ethnicity got to do with protecting the civil society?
Because that is your heritage. And if there had been
people...
So
you're saying I should let...
I'm going to speak...
This is perhaps the best optical evidence of a failing nation state, a state that simply can't enforce its borders. It wishes to go abroad and have interventions in foreign countries and make the case for intervening in Ukraine and fighting Putin and so on and challenging Iran and etc., but incapable of enforcing its own borders. The basic principle of security for the United Kingdom has been set aside, and as I say, it's the most optically sort of alarming vision of a failing state. We have to stop illegal migration into this country. It has to be stopped for the sake of those trying to come here, but most of all for civil society in the United Kingdom.
Clearly a very sensible point, but Ben, she then invoked your race again and said that you should remember who you are. Watch.
Never forget who you are. Secondly, you've had your day. I'm speaking now.
What's my ethnicity got to do with protecting the civil society?
Because that is your heritage. And if there had been
so you're saying I should let foreigners into this country because I'm...
Stop.
No, but it's a fundamentally flawed principle on which you're arguing.
You can come back when she's made a point.
Can you be polite?
I was being polite.
No, you're not. No, be polite and let me speak. We never hear... It's so convenient, right, to blame those people on boats whom we never see, we never hear. They're not on these programs. Their stories are never told. One thing I do agree with Ben, sort of, will you stop behaving like a hooligan and let me speak?
They're coming from France.
I mean, if there's one man on the right who's not acting like a hooligan, Ben Habib, it's you. But this clip has gone massively viral over the past day because British Stand did a reaction video to it and pointed out that this is an example of the racism from the left, that you are demanded and forced and guilt-tripped into thinking a particular way because of the colour of your skin. If you want to ensure these stories don't get buried by the mainstream media, hit subscribe so you never miss an Outspoken update. Remember, it is totally free.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can't bear all this discussion about skin color. I find it hugely patronizing. I don't need progressive discrimination in my favor in order to get on in life. I don't want someone to tell me that because I'm brown, I need a special leg up, that I must make the case for all brown people, irrespective of their belief system or their capability, the merits or demerits of whether or not they should have a job. I don't care. What I want is people who love this country, who believe in this country, who are of this country in the sense that they recognize its history, recognize its national heroes, speak its language in a true sense, are prepared to die for this country. I want capable people like that. That's what I want. I don't really care about skin color. I do wholeheartedly agree that the rate of demographic change is too big. And I don't need to be a white supremacist in order to say that. I can be brown yellow, whatever other color you want to, black, whatever, I can still believe and understand that the rate of demographic change, which is effectively the rate of change of a country's culture or destruction of a country's culture, is too fast. You know, civilizations, cultures, they evolve. All cultures evolve. If you were to read a book written 200 years ago in England, it would be quite demanding to understand some of the language because the culture and the language has evolved. But there's a natural pace and a natural slow rate of evolution that cultures can tolerate.
Yeah, this is
when
too
it becomes
fast.
And this is too fast. And that's the rate of demographic change that we've got to stop.
Can I put so that's where it comes from the left, right? Yeah. I want to put to you the counter argument coming from the right. Now, you know I don't like the term civnat and ethronat, but this would, I guess, critics would say, oh, this is the ethnonat side. But it's a woman called Lucy White, who I like very much, regularly here on Outspoken, and she is part of Restore Britain. She's also a policy analyst, very smart woman. And she has pointed out, and I just want to show you, because she's brought the receipts, and I know you know this, but I think a lot of people will be shocked about it. And she's really trying to make the point that it really is the white British native population who is the real minority, and as a result deserves protected status. Watch this.
It's really important that we break this fake narrative that anyone of Black or Asian ethnic background is a minority here in Great Britain. It's simply not true. If we look at the numbers, there are 1.5 billion Indians in India. There are 1.4 billion Chinese in China. There are 260 million Pakistanis in Pakistan. And there are 243 million Nigerians in Nigeria. But when we look at Great Britain, in terms of the indigenous people, the English, the Welsh, the Scottish, and also we can include the Northern Irish, those with ancestry in the British Isles, there are only 50 million of us. And so India has 30 times more people than we have. China has 28 times more people than we have. And then Nigeria and Pakistan each have around 5 times more people than we have. And so the idea that they come here and are suddenly a minority is a ludicrous claim. And the reason why it's problematic is because many diversity, equity and inclusion programs favour those and say that they are the ethnic minorities as opposed to us.
And then she then actually goes on to include the whole of the Anglosphere, and I think the figures still remain really stark. Watch.
Even if you were to include all the Anglo-Saxons across the Anglosphere, there would still be only around 200 million of us, which is less than the populations of all those 4 countries I've just mentioned. And what's also shocking is if we take Nigeria alone, Nigeria had 4 million more births last year than the entire birth rate across the EU. So this is concerning because these 4 countries are also the top 4 countries coming into the UK in terms of long-term immigration. And Indians, followed by Pakistanis, followed by Nigerians, are the top 3 nationalities to be handed out our British citizenships. And of course, we know that the Home Office is handing our passports out like confetti, as last year they gave out 737 British citizenships on average every single day. And so why is it important to talk about this? Because we need remigration to allow those people to flourish in their countries and for the indigenous people of Great Britain to flourish here in our own country, because we are becoming a minority. And therefore, policies should be in favour of us and protect us and not protect the global majority.
So Ben Habib, that's sort of the skin colour argument, I guess. So I just wanted to show that to you and get your response. But first, the #1 worst fruit for your waistline. Are you turning healthy fruits into highly unhealthy fruits without even realising it? Fruit can be one of the healthiest things you can put into your body, but the majority of Americans are guilty of making this single mistake that can counteract all of the health benefits of fruit. Some fruits help with occasional constipation, reduce bloating, and even help burn calories. Others can wreak havoc on your digestive system and energy levels. I came across this viral presentation from world-renowned surgeon Dr. Stephen Gundry that showcases the 3 fruits to stop eating today. And it was shocking. I had no idea. And after finding it out, I've stopped eating these too. I'm going to put a link for you all to watch it because I want you to gain this information. I think it's truly important. You can watch it right now at thehealthyfat.com/outspoken. That's thehealthyfat.com/outspoken. I also linked it in the description box below the video too, so make sure to click on it or just go to thehealthyfat.com/outspoken. Oh, and by the way, eliminating these fruits could forever change the way we help increase energy levels, decrease brain fog, support digestion, and even lose weight. So make sure to click below or go to thehealthyfat.com/outspoken to find out now. Dr. Gundry has lost 70 pounds himself using his research and has kept the weight off for over 20 years and counting. His digestive issues are gone, his health is fantastic, and he feels younger and healthier today than he did in his 40s. His video has been watched by over 20 million people to date, and you can watch and learn more about it at thehealthyfat.com/outspoken. It's linked at the bottom of this video, but he'll teach you exactly how he has kept his weight off for free at thehealthyfat.com/outspoken. Just click on the link in the description below the video. But now, back to the show.
So I think it's a perfectly natural reaction to the rate of demographic change that we've been talking about that this country's been experiencing. People are bound to look. I mean, I see this where I live in West London. It was a predominantly white place, all white, 5 years ago, 6 years ago. And actually now it isn't. And I see lots of women wearing clothes which are, more akin to what you'd expect to see in downtown Riyadh. And this is the optical representation of this massive shift in demography that's taken place, which is unsettling civilization in this country. And that's a perfectly valid and entirely correct point to make. The problem that I have with some of the debate around ethnicity is when you start trying to look, we're not Japan, okay? Japan is largely a pure race country. We are part of a very rich fabric, a very rich history, where we went abroad, we met lots of people, made love to them, had babies. They came here, they made love to lots of people, and they had babies. And I'm not talking just about recent history, where brown people and black people made love to white people and so on. I'm going back to the right through history. We've been going over to Europe, and they've been coming over here, and there's a mixture that's going on. And I've made the point, for example, that George I, the first king of Great Britain, as distinct from England, the first king of Great Britain, was born in Germany, didn't speak a word of English. He was German. He was German through and through. The royal family now, including King Charles.
Because your mother is white English, right? Just for people who might not realize.
But no one on the right of British politics can be threatened by me. Because when they see me and they know me, they know that I am absolutely with them. And I would die on a hill for this country. And one of the jokes I made on a podcast recently is if any government should get into office, which ultimately deports me, I'll be disappointed to be deported, but I'll know the United Kingdom has been saved. It perhaps has gone a bit too extreme on the other side of it. But the reason I'm not a threat is because I am completely culturally assimilated into the United Kingdom. So ultimately, I absolutely see the point Lucy's making. It's an absolutely understandable reaction to what she's seeing on the streets of London and across the United Kingdom. But fundamentally, it does come down to, are we culturally assimilated and not identical, but homogeneous? Are we homogeneous? Do we have a community that's homogeneous? Do we have a nation state that's homogeneous? And by the way, to have a nation state, you've got to have a culture that's homogeneous. Multiculturalism fundamentally tears a nation apart because you've got lots of different cultures competing for that space. You've got to have a common culture. And this is why I come back to where I started. It's our weakness in this country that we have not been proud of our culture and that we haven't stamped that on every single generation and that we haven't prevented immigration taking place that sets our culture aside. We've done the opposite, as Lucy was suggesting, progressively discriminating in favor of people who've come to this country. That is lunacy. That is utter lunacy, setting your country aside for foreigners. It's madness.
Dan Wotton Outspoken is your no spin, no bias, no censorship outlet for independent news. We have no big tech backing or billionaires pulling my strings, but that does mean I need your support. So please hit subscribe on YouTube, turn on the notification bell, and subscribe to Dan Wotton Outspoken on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It's totally free, but allows me to continue my promise to always keep fighting for you.